Welcome, everyone. This is awesome. We are here for our fourth one-on-one game. I am joined here by the amazing Jen Vaughn, and I can't wait. This stream has been sponsored by Kobold Press. They actually have a really cool Kickstarter going on right now, the Scarlet Citadel, which is like this. If you're into the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, I highly recommend this level 1 through 10 dungeon crawl. It's awesome. And yes, so thank you for Kobold Press for sponsoring us. You all are really great. I love everything that you write. They, of course, are the authors of this adventure, Empire of Ghouls, which we are playing through here on the Venture Maidens. And tonight, we're going to be doing a giveaway of the Underworld Player's Guide. And Jen's character is using one of the character options for species in this, so you'll get to see some of that play out. So stick around until the middle of the episode. We'll launch that giveaway. And yes, this is, if you are here for the first time, welcome. This is a horror stream. There's going to be lots of people eating, cannibalization, general body horror, skulls, macabre humor, you know, all those wonderful goodies. But if you are not in a great headspace for that, that's fine. Probably not the stream for you. But yes, with that, I am your storyteller this evening, Sage. And joined with me is the wonderful Jen. Jen, tell us about you and what you do on the internet and in the great wide world of role-playing games.
Thank you so much for having me, Sage. Venture Maidens chat. I will only tell you what I do on the internet and not what I do in real life. No, I'm teasing. It's all real. It's all a simulation. I am a narrative designer for the video game company Very Very Spaceship, as well as a D20 dame. I play a Riot Bonezerker on a family-friendly all-femme D&D podcast, available wherever podcasts are free. I also host my own show, Jen Vaughn's Big Dungeon Show. We're on a little break right now, but we just played Obachan Panic, where everyone was a grandma. So, and yeah, just general... I almost said haberdashery, but yeah, writing for RPGs, drawing for them as well occasionally. Oh, and I also make comics, so yeah, hopefully maybe that one will get announced during this stream because it's a little horror-based too. So
Ooh.
yeah, thank you. You can find me online, as it says above me, at the Jenya on Instagram and Twitter. So thank you again for having me. I feel very well cursed to be here. So.
I know we had you on in our Halloween special last year, and you know, Viridian, I needed more of it.
Oh no, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I'm not Viridian, but maybe, maybe a spirit or something comes out and has a sneak peek. But yeah, thank you, Sage. You also were the DM on that one, and it was a brilliant adventure. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. Oh boy, I'm so excited. All right, well, let's get into this. So. You are actually a resident of this large city of Helbron, where you have been living for quite some time. And some odd things have been going on in the city. You know, for the past month or so, a huge string of disappearances have been happening. At least 30 people have gone missing, and with no one yet to be found. And so... notices for missing people, for information, for, requests for people to go and find them have been littered all over the city, stapled to every correspondence board. And one night, after you had locked up your funeral home and were walking home in the evening, you had heard a trash can get knocked over, and as you turned to try and see if it was a raccoon or a rat or someone else, suddenly there was complete and utter darkness. You felt your lungs constrict as you fell unconscious. Eventually, you wake up. You shoot straight up. You realize that you are, and kind of knock your head a little bit, feeling like you've been hit over the head, that your lungs still kind of ache as you kind of cough up this black powdery substance. and you realize that you are sitting on sort of a gurney and stacked in 6 rows with 2 levels above you, and you see that this kind of array are. Sorry, can you hear my dog slurping up water in the background? uh, you see that you are in a room which is absolutely frigid. You see your breath as you sort of regain consciousness. And you see in each of these sort of gurneys is an individual who is lying perfectly still without a single sound of breath or heartbeat in this room.
Marrowmorn pushes one of her purple locks out of her face. She is a very tall, dusky lavender orc. Beautiful, well-kept canines peeking out, and probably in her looks down, and am I wearing what I was last wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You don't have any of your equipment with you, but you're just wearing the last thing that you remembered that you were wearing.
Amazing. Okay. So a gray, sort of very sharply tailored jacket with a couple of pockets. It's both for doing some public-facing funeral directorial work, as well as can easily be whipped off for doing some of the more grimy and bloodier mortician work that participates in. And she looks around, just goes, "Shit! I, and also, would I recognize the setup that I'm in? I mean, the place."
So you would not recognize this room in particular, but you do recognize that very much similar to your own funeral home.
Oh, yeah.
This is absolutely where dead individuals are being kept and preserved until that they may be cremated or buried or.
Yeah. Yeah. Marrowmorn looks around and goes, "I better not be in the bloody Bickle Brothers establishment. They are the worst. They took away my number one competition. I hate them. And God, I'm so gods. Oh, I can't believe and I going to Marrowmorn jumps off the gurney that she was on, and turns around, and is her body there?"
Yes. And so as you sort of step out of yourself, your spirit, you turn and look, and you see your body where you were sitting.
God's blessed it. This wasn't going to happen like this. I thought I knew. I thought this place is so dusty. Oh my God, the Bickles are the worst. And every year they like to do Bickles, pickles, and you're wondering, is that from the humans? God, I can't. Oh my God. Mara starts to get a little aggravated, just thinking about all the plans that she had this year for lunar stars, graveside services, and more. And it's just like, of course, they probably jumped at the chance. They probably jumped me. Who did this? Who killed me? Who took me away from my best-selling, is that the word? Yeah, but it's just, too many bodies were actually coming. It was really a bestseller. Okay, Marrow, get it together. What would you do if your parents were here yelling at you and you needed to get out of a room? You look for a handle. Is there a handle in this goddamn fridge?
And as you take a look around, you do see that there is a handle on this side of the door.
Probably a well-used handle, depending on who owns this place, always locking themselves in. Okay. Marrowmorn runs back to her body, and I search my own pockets. Is there anything in there of use other than like maybe a dark lavender lipstick of some kind? Or
You, as you search through your own pockets, you find that they have been emptied, and you're not even wearing shoes.
oh God, oh God! You know what? I've got. You know, I have mortician's feet. I've got director feet. I don't really care about. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You know, I work on my feet all day. That's like they're just. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just here's what I would do, and Meryl probably spends like 3 minutes just fixing her hair and stuff in case the person that comes in to do the mortician that comes and do the work
Hmm.
doesn't do a good job. You know what? I will be back for you. You don't. Maybe we could. Maybe we could rejoin. Probably not. Yeah, but it's a. All right. Here's looking at you, kid. You look great. Ah, God. Okay, back to the door. Yeah, she runs back over and tries the handle ever so gently.
And it's one of those you have to press in the knob before it'll allow you to open it, and you slowly creak it open, and you see that you are greeted by complete darkness. Cat, please don't stand on my laptop.
All right, complete darkness.
But with your
Yeah, not a problem.
with your dark vision, thankfully you see that as you kind of peek around, you see that this appears to be have intended to be like a secret door. As when you look through kind of the other side, it's very concealed.
Mm-hmm.
And looking around, immediately you see that off to the left you see a passageway that leads down like this hallway, and same with directly in front of you. In this small room, though, stacked up are piles and piles of crates, and you can see that one of them is ajar, and it is filled with shoes.
Okay. Yeah, since my spirit's not wearing them, but I can, or shade, I can feel the ground though. May I please take a moment to find my shoes, hopefully, or shoes that fit, or actually before they fit, if they're not my shoes, aesthetically go with the gray tunic and fitted basically tuxedo pants, matte with like like shiny stripes up the side.
Very nice. And so yes, you can take a minute and kind of scrounge through the barrel, and you're like, and you find the left one, and you're like, okay, the other one's got to be in here somewhere. Dig a little bit more, push them aside, and you can find the matching one.
She throws on fantasy Doc Martens and is ready to
Very
go. Yeah,
practical.
of course, yeah, yeah. But she's also like painted the bottoms of the soles lavender too, just for a little like, hey, how are you?
Nice.
Um,
Ooh,
it,
does she have lavender laces too?
uh, yeah, I probably like black and lavender, so they're like the two tone
Mm,
laces, so that feels more her steez.
very nice.
um, Also, you mentioned a black powder that spilled out of her mouth. Is it still in the room, or was it perhaps the crumbling bits of her soul, or
It's definitely as you awoke and you kind of, coughed the stale air out of your lungs, you definitely produced it from yourself.
all right,
But it's not evident in this room.
all right, she still tries a couple of like sorry, sounds to try to see if she can bring up any more. Goes, interesting. I shall I have to document this. This is quite yes, interesting. Okay, all right, got shoes on. Perfect. I need to find my God, they took my keys. They're probably ransacking my funeral home. God. So she goes back out in the corridor where the hidden door was. Does she
Hmm.
recognize the place possibly, or is it a place she's never been?
You definitely have never seen this. It
Okay.
appears to be, there are no windows. It is completely dark. The walls, floor, and ceiling are all entirely composed out of stone. So it leads you to think maybe this is underground somewhere.
Okay. Well, whoever's here is definitely they're saving on cooling, so that makes sense. I mean, we all have basements, of course. Yeah, I have a basement. I have a basement. Okay, I should probably not talk out loud anymore. But all right. You said there was a passage up to the left.
Yeah, to the left and directly in front of you.
Oh, and directly in front of me. No, she's going to the left. She's like, it's too easy.
And so as you head off to the left, you see that there is a small little hallway that leads to a closed door, where you can sort of continue into this smaller kind of like little antechamber.
All right. I'm going to slowly open up that
Sorry,
door.
sorry,
I'm
the
sorry.
right. Sorry,
Okay.
the door to the right.
Yeah.
We're heading into this small little antechamber.
Yep, she's slowly going to walk in, sort of checking all the angles, clearing the room with her eyes. Does she see anything on the ground too like dust that's been disturbed by footsteps or anything?
Yeah, make it either investigation or perception, whichever one's higher.
Dirty 21.
Nice. So looking around, you can definitely see that there are numerous sets of prints from uh, humanoid creatures, and like medium size. So probably look to be about a dozen or people or so have traveled through here. Some barefoot, some wearing boots.
All right, so whoever's here doesn't have like a standard for their employees or people delivering things. That's fine. That's fine. I'm sure they didn't pick up any type of weird ceremonial fluids. That's fine. Okay. And she keeps sort of like shuffling, sort of like going along the wall too, to like in case someone comes in, be like a dog right behind you, like slowly shuffling in.
And so as you sort of like slide into this, you hear this very slow, shambling gait. And you hear a low sound.
Right. Marrowmorn's sort of like moving into possibly inside of her head with these thoughts. All right. Just armed with combat boots and a will to live. Oh, shit. Yeah, a will to continue living. Yes. All right. Can she? Does she know? Can she tell like where the sound is coming from? Like, is
Yeah.
it high, eye level, knee level?
It's coming from about probably a little bit shorter than you,
Okay.
but it's coming from a little bit further ahead. You can see that in this a small sort of room that there is another passageway that leads off to the right where this appears to be coming from.
Okay. Right. It doesn't sound like a good noise. It doesn't sound. God, I hope they didn't start doing some sort of process to somebody who wasn't dead. I mean, this really sounds like Bickle's work to me. But I don't recognize this place at all. So.
And you hear the footsteps approaching.
Oh, she's gonna start walking to the other direction if she can. As quiet as a ghost mouse. Like.
Yeah, make a stealth for me.
Oh gosh. Ooh, it's a dirty 21 again. I'm sorry. I'm
Nice.
sorry.
And so yeah, and you were just like, yeah, hold the breath, turn and slowly start going the other direction with utter silence.
Oh my god. Did those footsteps sound even, or did they sound like there was some dragging?
Definitely sounded like some dragging. Some shambling.
Mara's still thinking, the inspectors are supposed to come once a year and make sure there aren't any zombies traipsing around in your funeral home. I have to pay them off, even if they didn't find any. God, these people. All right. Okay, so I'm not going down that hallway. Did that antechamber open out to anywhere else, or is that the
Yes.
end of this?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it went off to the right where you hear the footsteps coming from,
Hmm.
and then as you backtrack, there's that door that you haven't checked out, or you can
Okay.
head back to the room with the crates.
Great. Yeah, she's gonna go into the door that she did not check out first,
Very
and then
cool.
maybe magically those crates since they were brought up again.
And so you can peek into this room through this door, and you see that there is a large sofa. You see that there's a dartboard. There is a sort of small kind of kitchenette set up where you see that there are plates stuffed in a cupboard. This appears to basically be like a mess hall and game room, but it's not currently occupied.
Room? Who runs this? University students? What in God? Okay. Well, I can't give myself an aneurysm. Okay. She's just gonna she might go over and just like she's got like nothing in her pocket, so she might go over and just rummage through and see if she can find like a dulled butter knife or something.
Yeah, so as you kind of start pulling through the drawers in the kitchenette, you can definitely find like you find a set of butcher's knives.
All right.
And the
Yeah, she's
notable,
able. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, and the notable thing about this room is it has the faint odor of rotting meat.
Um, Again, Marrowmorn as a practiced mortician and funeral director who constantly has to prove that she's not eating her clients is dead, or that is, um, looks around in the kitchen. Is there an ice box of some kind or like a cold well?
There is not in here. It definitely comes to mind of the room that you woke up in.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah. Mara goes. All right. Well, got, I've got right and left, holding up the knives. I'll name you if you prove yourselves. But first, I should go check those crates too. What if they? Oh, they might have had my keys in there. Yeah. So, she's gonna like, yeah, non-zombie shuffle, very quietly, ghost walk. There we go. Back to
There you
the,
go.
yeah, shade shuffle. Back to the room where the crates are.
Oh, the dance craze that's hitting the nation, the shade shuffle. And so
Step to
as
the left.
and so as you step back to head through the door that you came in through, you catch this shadowy figure shambling past this door. And you
Uh,
see now that it is a rotted undead creature with this long gaggling tongue looking around with crazed and hungry eyes. And you see it sniffs up into the air as if it's
uh,
detected something.
yeah. Again, Marrow is not one to leave work undone. So she pulls out right and left the butcher's
Mm-hmm.
knives and goes, "Time to work." And then like jumps and tries to like hit this undead in the middle of the shoulder blades if possible.
Oh yeah, the old jump double stab.
Yep, yep. The old like gravity help me and don't trip or fall.
Yeah, go ahead, roll, make an attack. Guess, treat it like a dagger.
Okay, perfect. Which I normally would have. Four. Does a 12 hit?
Yes, it exactly hits.
What I like to hear. Um, that, that bad boy is going to take or bad girl or bad person, 4 points of damage.
Very nice. And you see that as you begin to plunge these daggers into like the middle of their back, and you see this face with this lolling tongue turn over its shoulders as it cranes its head past where its neck should normally allow, and you see it immediately starts to lash out with the bite. And we'll roll some initiative.
Sounds good. Yeah, I forgot to ask if I get if that second dagger lands or if I do damage on that as well. But that's
Oh yeah, you can make your like offhand attack with it.
yeah. Oh, that's nope, that's not gonna hit. I can. Does a 3 do it? All right.
Not quite.
Yeah. My initiative. My roll is 12.
All right, let's see what this. Ooh, even less. All right, so then, yes, you have the first action again, as you've caught this thing by surprise.
Perfect. The first thing Mara's gonna do is take right and left the daggers and try to cut that tongue out.
It nasty.
Yeah. Uh, got a 15 for one of them, and then a 6 for the other.
The 15 will do it.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Catches the tongue. She tries to like avoid like a spray of any kind. Again, I feel like as a practice mortician, she would know if she's cutting one way, it's going to squirt out the other way, so she's able to dodge. It's a beautiful dance if you're into that. You shouldn't be, but yeah. So yeah, and then she probably like kicks the tongue out of the way and then waits.
You see it continues to wriggle on the ground.
Somebody's done some shoddy work in here.
And so now with its tongue dismantled, it begins to lean into you with this mouth that is just filled with black ichor that is dripping from its freshly cut out tongue. And whoops, let's roll in the tray. And let's see, will an 18 hit you?
Will an 18 hit me? Yeah, you know it will.
And that is going to be 5 damage as you get this nasty old chomp as this undead human begins gnawing at your shoulder.
Ooh, boy. Okay. Yeah. So also, if anyone's watching and not helping, they probably or sorry, Mara looks down and sort of notices that her arms now look more transparent, and sort of her edges are fuzzing a bit. Goes interesting.
Oh, sorry.
Interesting. Just it's probably just a result of yes, of course, it's the result of being dead. Oh my god. You know, and she's talking to the zombie, sort of holding right out the butcher knife. Going, this reminds me of the summer of '33. We actually had a full family pass. They were on a boat ride, and it didn't go well. And but truth be told, these undead piranhas got a hold of them, and it was not a fun scene. It was actually my parents were helping me then. And it was it was you know how parents can be. And she's sort of like dancing out of the way of the zombie who's like sort of probably like shuffling arm after arm towards her. Yes, just the year of 33. The parents are always like, Marrow, do this, Marrow, do that. They would come every year in their caravan and sit in front of the funeral home and take up space for the horses, space where people would come for their dead. They would always come and they would visit me and talking to the undead while we're they would stay too long, past me wanting to make them breakfast. And they would sometimes they would sit in the coffins if it was a coffin burial and be like, Marrow, practice on me, Marrow. And I hate God. And then just, she, tries to take another shot with the knife.
Spectacular. Sorry, my food Grubhub took forever to get my food here. And so, as you are going to take another stab at this thing, yes, go ahead.
Oh, cool! I get to yes. See, always have yeah, perfect. Boom, 19.
Yes.
Yes. Cool. I'm gonna say it was just the right because she was talking with that one. And another 4 points of damage. Probably aiming for one of the legs to try to see if she can get it off, off kilter.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, and as you kind of swipe towards the femur of this thing, which is loosely held together by sheer will and the semblance of muscle, and you can start to sever what's left of its quadriceps, and it just sort of continues to barrel into you with claws poised. And that will hit
Oh no.
for 2 damage, 2 whole damage. It is necrotic
2 more.
damage, if that helps.
Oh, it absolutely helps me. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't ask. So, yes, as a shade, I actually have resistance to necrotic damage. Resistance to necrotic damage.
Very nice.
Perfect. Well, I'm still, as one would say, alive then.
And then it is your turn again.
Yeah, perfect for fighting. Okay, I can't give myself bardic inspiration. Okay. Yeah, is there? We are walking down this hallway. Walking. We're doing the dance, if you will, of the undead. Having quite a time. And is there anything else around on the walls that I'm noticing while we're?
The walls appear to be completely blank, which is sort of the most unsettling thing. This is definitely stone that has been shaped, like probably a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, so it's all like weather worn and like no one's gonna accidentally hurt themselves. Ugh, fine, one of those places. I mean, as someone who loves to go or loved going to a bar with too many coat hooks, though, I get it. Like you don't want people to fall and hurt themselves. Yeah, I think Marrow is going to attempt to grapple with the zombie and see if she can force it down on the ground and like get to the neck easier as well.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, make a shove. So we'll make opposed grapples, and then you'll use your athletic score, and it will also use athletics because surprisingly, zombies aren't very dexterous.
Well, they're probably I got a 7.
Well, I got 6. So you managed. What does it look like as you just managed to shove this thing onto the ground?
Marrow didn't do a great job, as you might suspect, lacing up one of those fantasy Doc Martens. So she actually kind of steps on one of the black and purple colored lace and like, and again, like just cursing again, and probably like, yeah, elbows the bows that zombie into the ground. So, and then is gonna try to like aim the knives on its throat while they go down.
Very
It's all in
nice.
slow motion. Yeah.
Exactly. Very epic as it's reaching out with its claws, trying to get at you as you're like, "Argh!" And then yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you've got your bonus action. You can make an offhand attack with it.
16.
Yes.
Which means and 3 points of damage.
Nice. And so as you go in with, oh, is she right or left-handed?
Oh, left-handed.
And so she goes in with the right hand to finish this thing off. You see, you just get right at the spinal cord and crack this thing's head off, and you see the spray of black, dried, very viscous blood sort of spill out onto the ground. And you've managed to take care of this with old righty and lefty.
Yeah, she looks down at the knife. She's like, kind of like those names, but I'm gonna call you a blessing and a curse. How about that?
Very
And
nice.
sort of puts them in her pockets as best she can without ripping her pants off her body. Nothing like a bare-assed shade wandering around a funeral home or a police station. So Marrowmorn is still, of course, a little bit transparent as well, because she lost quite a bit of her hit points, or her life force. So yeah, she's a little transparent. A little her edges are fuzzy as she it's like, all right, to the crates. and and actually she looks at back at the body. Are they wearing any clothes of any kind? Or any jewelry or anything that would signify who they are?
So they are wearing this very simple black tabard that has the symbol of a worm that's coiled into an 8 on its side. So it appears to be a worm, like, eating its own tail.
All right.
In the shape of, yeah, a sideways 8.
And does she recognize that? I guess I should also ask.
Let's say, make a religion check.
Haha! Ooh! With my a 21.
Oh, very nice. That's the number of the evening. So, with what comes to mind is there are cults who are dedicated to what is called Verdsane, who is known as the Hunger God. And so, for vampires, for ghouls, this is an entity that they worship.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, she sort of recalls this and goes, interesting. Can't say I ever saw them a lot at Lunar Star Graveside Services and more, but that's fine. And if she can reach in, with one of with a curse, her left-handed butcher knife, she's gonna try to remove the C2 vertebrae of the neck to keep, if possible.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Just as like proof, probably more than anything. Not. She's like, I'm trying to take a big picture with my mind, but I don't know what I would do with it. So maybe this would do the trick. And so yeah, then she will again quietly start walking towards the crates. And I guess Mara would also, she knows that she can do stuff with that bone to figure out some things too, but just for later.
Forensics later. And yes, and so you can make your way back into that initial room, and yeah, you do see that there's the one that was opened with all the shoes, and then there is another couple of stacks of, there's a stack of 3 other of these large crates.
Cool. So she doesn't want to use her knives, but is there a crowbar sitting around, or I don't know, someone who's holding a crowbar? I'm sorry, not somebody, but do it because you said only the loose crate was the one full of the shoes. So
yeah, so looking around, you can see that there is there's a crowbar laying around that you can use to jimmy one of these open.
Yeah, cool. So she cracks open. I'm sorry, were they all stacked on top of each other, or were they in like a loose arrangement?
Yeah, they're like stacked on top of each other, so you can kind of shove one down.
Yeah, number one on top then, or the first one.
So looking into this first one, you see it is completely full of what appears like backpacks with like adventuring goods from people, with rations, with keys, with wallets, and all these sort of like mundane things that would be pulled out of pockets or purses.
Marrow is getting a very bad feeling. She kind of looks around, and I'm sorry, was this in the same room as the bodies?
It was the first room that you stepped into.
Okay.
From
cool. Yeah,
she's
like,
bodies.
This is not regulation. Everyone who takes the Mortician's Code knows that you don't just throw everything amok in a crate like they would go to the family members. And I don't think this is the Bickles side residence. They're not this smart or good. I think I've met trouble with a T. She's probably going to see if there's any identification in any of these bags and like take those as well, so she at least can maybe use it later for for identification, but to to show people that she and does she recognize her own pack in there as well?
Yeah, you can definitely find. You're like, oh my god, this is my key ring. Oh, yeah. This is my wallet. This is my coin purse.
Oh my god, yes, my lucky penny. All right. Yeah, she puts on her one we'll just call it backpack, basically. Yeah, it's in the shape of like a purple skull, basically, and she unzips where the teeth are and just goes, "Ah, my stuff is still in here."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah. She touches her instruments and her ledger, because she kind of keeps that always on her of yeah of her current cases and like who she's put to rest and all that. Just, okay. And there is some some candy in there too, so she just pops one in her mouth. She's like, yes, okay, all right, little sugar rush. Okay, next crate.
And as you can kind of shove this one off to the top, it's not too terribly heavy. And as you pop open the next one, and you see that it is a crate that is full of discarded weapons.
All right. Okay, so she and I assume she can find her long sword and her normal dagger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, yeah, pretty much like all the basic kind of weapons you can find: daggers, long swords, scimitars, anything in here. So she can look for hers, or if there's anything else that she would like to grab, that is an option too.
oh my god. Okay, yeah. She grabs her longsword because it is ceremonial. It is very dull. It is not helpful. Um, and it's called Dusk's Call. So she's like, come to me, Dusk's Call. One of my favorite ceremonies. Ceremony of the Sword. All right. Is this it's just sort of like tinkling around in there and sees what looks like a straight line of metal with like 4 loops attached to it, and she puts it around her fingers and goes, "Oh right, this is the stuff, isn't it? Yes." And, does this set of silver knuckles say anything on it, or?
The straight lines across it appear to be like bones, and it says Bone Daddy.
All right, it's been a while since I've seen a bone daddy, if you know what I mean, but that's fine. Or a bone mommy. And then she looks around, just like, but of course, as a mortician, I don't do anything with the clients. Of course, it's gotta always remind people I like them living. They only have to be living. Meryl's like, I'm talking to myself again. All right. And like pushes the weapons crate. She's like, I might actually come back to you. I just seemed too fun. But yeah, and cracks open that last crate.
And then this one you see it's a variety of sets of armor and discarded clothes. So like you see that a huge variety from very very fine like sort of wealthy sort of suits and dresses to basic everyday sort of working wear and like basic leather armor.
Ooh, sorry. Was Marrow naked this whole time, and we were just?
Oh no,
Okay.
she had her clothes on.
Okay. Whew. I mean, that would have been fun for fan art, but okay. So again, she might be checking just to see if there's any identification in here of anything. But does she find anything interesting, I guess, that might point out like who, what, or why, or where the reason these people are here?
You do find there's one sort of violet ball gown that was known to be worn at a recent gala by one of the nobles of the city. You know her to be Patricia, who you know that she is one of the people who has gone missing.
Oh yes. Oh, I remember this. I remember this ball gown. Oh my god. Laces and trims. I tried to hire her, the person that made this gown to, make something for one of my clients, but no. Costs too much. I only do affairs with the living, or press, or any press. Okay, interesting. she's gonna take that ball gown too. She's gonna see if there's room in her back.
Oh yeah, you can definitely like it's made out of this like violet satin fabric, and you can kind of ball it up and kind of shove it in there. You notice that the designer tag on the inside of the dress reads "Sew Buttons."
So buttons. Oh yes, that I'm remembering now. All right. Okay. All right. Somewhere possibly to go for interesting. And Mara's keeping this dress probably for her own purposes, but also for investigation, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody murdered her, Sage. I don't know if you're judging Marrow right now, but somebody murdered her. Did you know that? So, or she's assuming.
We all deal with grief in different ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So she'll take that. She is just gonna. Okay. She's gonna just go right back into the weapons area and see if there's anything interesting in there. Because there is something that she realizes she doesn't have on her. And it is her small serpentine friend, and she's wondering where they have hidden. Or maybe she could go look back on her body. But so she's searching through the weapons to see if she can find her little bud.
And so as you're sort of pulling through, and you hear the clattering of metal and everything, and you do not see any sign of them.
Oh, Ellipses, where are you? Okay. Cool. She again just checks her bag really fast to see. Okay, no. All right. And then she's like, all right, back to where I started. Everyone loves that. And kicks the door open just a little. It doesn't kick it too hard. Doesn't want to leave a mark that will exactly say who she is with her purple painted sneaker bottoms or boot bottoms. But goes in and then just starts rifling through her body to see if he is hanging out on there.
So you're looking around, you kind of lift yourself up, and no sight of him. But as you're taking a peek around, and you hear a small like in the corner, and as you sort of like pull through, and you're on your hands and your knees, and you're like looking around, and you see that they have curled themselves up into a very tight little ball as they're just so cold.
My God. Okay, so interesting. I haven't been in here for long. You would only have 3 hours. She sort of says, like, tracing her finger back and forth. So, like, Ellipsis follows her with their eyes. Or sorry, do they recognize me? Like, even in this form?
There's definitely like a small recoil, but then as they like stick their tongue out to get a sniff of you, and they seem a little bit apprehensive, but eventually are like, okay. They definitely sense something is off about you.
Wouldn't be the first person, but okay. Cool. So she's going to attempt to pick up Ellipsis and put him in she's got a little traveling bauble for him.
Of course.
In the skull backpack's eye, so it's a little, it's some breathable, hard, or it's probably more like glass with a few little holes, but so he can hang out while they travel. And then she's kind of like, ooh, like seeing her transparency, like while she's picking up his body, like, oh, right. And just again back to the crates to see if there's if anyone else had healing potions in their bag.
Absolutely. As you go through the one that was on top, and you're rifling through, and sure enough, you hear the clatter of glass as you find 2 healing potions.
And yeah, she's glugs one real fast, and but keeps the glass because she loves the reusable glass they come in. Like, it's perfect for holding organs and all sorts of good things.
Multi-purpose.
So, absolutely, yeah. It's reduced, reused, but it's reused mostly. Except for, again, and Mara goes, except for, we don't reuse the body parts. I feel like I have to say this a lot. I get questioned a bit, and I get asked too much. Only if they agreed to it prior to their current state. Anyway, okay. Mara's just like, all right. And she sort of does a little hover hand over each person's foot, barefoot. Again, right before leaving, she runs back into the. She's like, a third time. This is great. To the end, says a few words, but she's again unsure of what they practiced. She, as the funeral director, runs multiple different religion services and knows of many of the gods' preferences, but is not sure. So she sort of gives the ambiguous atheistic. May you find what you need. May I find what happened to us. She just gives a little tiny revenge twist, like, it will taste good in my mouth because I've proven I can at least taste candy.
Exactly.
If there's only one thing, that's fine. Yeah. And then so yeah, she's like, all right, backpack on, snake and skull eye, let us go. And
All right. Yeah,
down
so
the obvious big hallway now.
And so you can step down into here, and it seems to be very much a reflection of the other small kind of antechamber that you went into. And you see you can either go off to the left of the door, which you presume is into that small little mess hall that you found, or you can continue down, and you see that it leads into a long hallway, which off to the right you see are two different small hallways that lead off of here.
Okay. All right. Let's look down that first one, that first hallway. What is it? Was it?
Leads to a locked door.
She goes through her tools. And produces nothing helpful, again, as I thought. Just checking. She just kind of like touches the door. If only you were made of skin.
There's that crowbar that you found earlier.
Oh, that's right. I do have that crowbar. Yeah. Yeah. She's still reminiscing about missing the job. But then was like, wait. And then pulls out the crowbar. Yeah.
So I guess give me a strength check.
Ooh, 10.
And so as you jam it in, and you eventually find just like kind of like the right leverage, and you pop it open. And you see this leads into a small office where you see that there is a large desk that's featured with the seat behind it, and covering the desk are just tons and tons of pieces of parchment. Continuing out through, as it has been through this entire place so far, it is still pitch black, but you're able to grope around with your dark vision. For Marrowmorn, what does her dark vision seem like to her? How does she experience that?
She's experiencing it currently. It's like a candle, several ambient candles flickering. So it's hard to see the details of things that are farther away, but up close they're quite visible. Yeah, she often has to walk further into places to see, up in depending on how high the ceiling is, or how, like look under a desk. She might have to like position herself. So, but it's a little bit more romantic than she remembers. She's like, all right, this must be a cool ghost thing. Or would she know she's specifically a shade yet?
Would you say that she's has run across that in her funerary work?
Probably, yeah. She probably even had a shade friend for a while, who then got tired of her bickering or complaining about people. So yeah. So yeah, she knows she's a shade. Okay, yeah. But again, that doesn't mean that they told her everything there was to know. So, but
yeah.
Gotta have some mystery and romance still. She's like, all right. So she's rifling through the paper, trying to find some semblance of order. See if they too have a special ledger where they put everyone's names in, possible internment dates, as well as what they died of. Just find her own name, possibly.
And so as you're looking through, this doesn't appear to be a center of business. What you find are a series of orders, and the topmost letter that you see is actually a personal letter, which reads, "My dear Mr. Cruel, I yearn for your counsel once more. Miss Van Demick's appetites for our offerings have grown predictably fierce, and I do hope we can appease our precious consul for as long as our imperial lords wish to retain her services. Morena's grace has kept the foolish babe pliant enough, but we must remain vigilant, my love, lest she stray from the mother's path. I appeal to you for fresh lambs, my hungry wolf. The stone thirsts, and the mouths of our fair children may run dry. Meet me beneath the Lady of Tears 3 nights from now. The Red Sisters are forever in your debt, my lord. Remember, our forbidden ecstasies taste much sweeter when your blade does the letting. By the Red Mother's mercy, signed F.
F as in Frank, or?
Yes, yeah.
All right. Marrowmorn puts down the paper and goes, ew. All right. Seem like they're mixing a little business with pleasure, but I'm no poet. Although I guess I'm about, you know what I am? I am actually quite a poet, but yes, seems like I was one of those lambs. I was feeding a mouth. So, all right. And she sort of like picks the letter back up, and is there like a pen or pencil around there? Or she's going in her bag. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
can. I
she's-
mean, definitely on the desk, you see that there is a quill made out of human finger bones.
Oh, she's like, oh yes, the number 3. I have this at home too. And sort of like circles, like Lady of Fears and the Red Sister, Lady of Tears, 3 nights from now. And Red Sister is like, all right, I think I've done everything as a ghostwriter would do, finding the clues. Sorry. All right. I wonder, is there a date on it too?
There is not.
Yes. She's like, that could be any. I guess I have to go. Maybe I go wait there and see what I can do. Okay, so she's gonna take that letter with her. She's like, forget this person. They clearly wouldn't know if they lost it anyway. So, can she open up any of the drawers on the desk as well, or?
Yes, and so as you pull through the desk, you see that there are more pieces of parchment and letters and orders. And what you can, if you spend some time reading through these, what you gather is that an individual by the name of Radomir Marrowblight has ordered the person whose office this presumably is, Boris, to check out the city of Helbron and see how easily manipulated the nobility are. And that you also find a sketch of a middle-aged human man with a big, thick, like, comb of a mustache, and you see it is labeled Archduke Argost.
Archduke Argost.
And it is written on the back of this piece of parchment. You see that it says to be captured alive.
Whew. Good luck to you. All right, and that was a Redmere Marrowblight. Was asking. Okay. Oh yes, the Marrowblights. No. All right. Cool. Like more clues. Very interesting. We're just gonna pocket this as well. Good thing there's extra room in my pockets. She put blessing and curse, then the butcher knives in her backpack as well. Her skull satchel. Excuse me. Children don't wear these. So. Yeah, she's gonna. And the word Boris too. That's who they were. Okay, interesting. And there's because this is a place of business. It's not like an office, so there's no like names anywhere, or, like a mug that's like I'm the best Boris that there is, or something, right? Like
all of the letters appear to be addressed to a Boris, so
okay.
It seems reasonable that this is probably his like little office that he set up.
Yeah. It's all making sense that it's underground now. My office is, of course, above ground because you need some fresh air. Oh my God, it's nice. All right, yeah. So she will leave that area and then wants to investigate the next hallway that you mentioned.
Yes, and so as you continue down this path, and you see that there is another little right turn that you can make that leads into a room, or you can continue up and make a left.
Right turn. Let's do it.
Right turn. And so this leads into you see that there are large racks in this that line the rooms of the line the walls of this room, where you see that there are a variety of long swords, short swords, very obviously military grade equipment. You also see that there is an entire rack that has torture instruments. You see that there are cat o' nine tails and flails, whips, manacles, things to grab and extract and pull. And you see that there is a path leading off from this room as well.
Yeah, Marrowmorn looks around. This is impressive. I'm not above that. She's also now she's like, well, while I'm here, I'm clearly, you know what? They took my body. I'm going to take what I want. Is there like a sword where the pommel is actually a hand holding the blade, like a skeletonized hand? Ah, beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. She's like, well, this one shan't be ceremonial anymore, will it? All right, and like takes that. She's probably looking for manacles that are the same thing, where they're like bone fingers, but she's like, who would I use these with? Marrowmorn, please. Just for me, just for fun. Yeah, she's definitely got, yeah, so she's got this fossilized sword, basically, that she's now added to. Don't worry, if I ever go back to a home base, I will move away some of my other. I'm all sharp, pointy things now. Like
just knives and swords just sticking out from everywhere, like the Iron Throne.
yeah. Whoops. She's like, don't worry, instruments. I'll come back to you. Actually, but she's gonna hold the very pointy, very sharp, fossilized sword in her hand, and sort of she's like, in for a penny, and hopefully here's like a ellipsis, like, in her bag, and be like, okay, and like edge her way down this. Did you say it was just a pathway? Like, it's not even like, is it becoming like a dirt room? Like,
oh no, so it's like the stone tunnel or hallway kind of continues down as it curves off towards, off to the right.
Can she hear anything?
You hear the sort of the dripping of water. As if in maybe like some kind of fountain.
Doesn't feel like the right place for a spa. So, yeah. All right, just gonna continue edging down quietly down this walkway or this hallway.
And so as you, kind of wind your way down this hallway, and it leads into this open area where you see off to the right, it leads off into another passageway, or it winds back up to the left. And so the main sort of feature in this room you see is this fountain that has been carved in the shape of a huge worm out of the ceramic material. And you see spilling out of its mouth is some kind of black viscous liquid.
Does it look similar to her as the same like deeply coagulated and rotted blood that was in the undead?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes. It's when you get to them at this point, it's what's the point, right? She's like, yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Marrowmorn's not going to walk near that fountain. There's no part of her that is excited about that. Although a sample would be smart. Is there anything else in this area?
No. It appears just to be like a small area for reflection.
That sounds terrible. For terrible, like, okay. Yeah, she's gonna, let's see. What else does she have in her bag? She's got the...
I'd say you probably definitely have like small little sample jars that you can scoop things into.
Well, I definitely have that healing potion bottle. So
true,
that's
exactly.
I was just gonna
already getting recycled.
Already getting recycled. Could use it later to trick somebody nefarious if needed. So yeah, she's digging. Oh yeah, she does have some leather. She's gonna put on like a glove And so that way she's, I mean, right, already dead. Could just be damned instead. And is going to like, yeah, trying to like get that little orb in there and pick up some of this thick ichor.
Definitely. And so as you can take a whiff of it, and you can tell that this is definitely would, if drunk, would give the effect of an inflict wounds.
Ooh. All right, perfect. Inside of a healing potion bottle. Perfect. All right. Yeah. So she wants to head up that other pathway then that's in the room after she's kind of looking around. Also just to be like, there's no graffiti. Like, surely this place employs teens, and teens love to graffito something. Like, sorry, that's the singular of graffiti.
Graffita.
Yeah. There's nothing that says like,
Surprisingly, no.
okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. So okay, she's gonna fossilized sword back in hand, start making her way up this other pathway. Just being like, yeah.
And so as you can like curve up to the left, and you see this leads into another sort of very similar sort of room, where the largest feature in this is this red glass figure that is in the shape of a young woman, and you see etched at the bottom it reads by the Red Mother's Mercy. And you see that this red glass figure is situated in a fountain of blood, as blood is leaking from her hands into the basin.
I was just like, this is gorgeous. If this blood weren't, I'm assuming, partially mine, again, it would be quite good. And she's sort of like looking at the fish, like, well, of course it's a young woman. An old woman couldn't possibly have powers, right? And does she have? Does this glass figure have eyes?
It does. They are made with black obsidian. And you see that this woman has a subtle smile, and revealed on the corner of her mouth is the glimpse of a fang.
Interesting. Little fang. All right. Does Marrow recognize her, I guess? Like, she does do some religious services, but again, this doesn't seem like the kind that people like to advertise or at least pay someone money for.
Definitely. With your religion check earlier, of what you noticed with the combination of Verdsane being the hunger god, and knowing that is a god that is also worshipped by vampires.
Mm-hmm.
The primary god of vampires is Morena, the red goddess.
Right.
And so you're like, oh, this is some depiction of her, clearly.
Woof. Yes, it seems like I've really stuffed in it this time, Marrowmorn. Perfect. It's cool. Well, oh god, I wonder, can they turn me into a zombie vampire? What happens to me, the shade? This could be very interesting. I feel like there's a proper business model here, but I know they murdered me. What am I? Ugh. So I just get so excited playing with the undead. Okay. She's also going to with one of her little tiny sample pipettes, she's going to probably, and again, that gloved hand, just dip into the blood and just be like, for science.
And so as you can take a small sniff and a whiff of it, and you can tell that this is a potion of heroism, but there's something just a little bit off about it.
Oh, do you think the part that's off of it, is it like the blood it's been cut with?
That's probably the contributing factor. But you can tell that it has some other effect. Like, as you take like just the tiniest little sip, your mouth just becomes a little bit numb, and you feel this sort of euphoric sensation sort of kind of wash over you briefly.
Don't like the sound of that. Euphoric. All right. Yeah, she's probably going to bottle one more little just take two of those vials with her. Given how yeah, given how weak she is currently. So times two here. She, she looks around. She goes, "This is quite a fun first adventure. I feel like I'm getting everything I need to face the surface world." So yeah, she sort of like does a little like thank you to Morena,
Mm-hmm.
or this red figure with black obsidian eyes, and she does kind of like look. She's like, "Do I deface? No, I don't deface. Of course, that would be no, no. I'm many things. A poor funeral director, but I don't deface a statue. There's nobody here that would do it." Okay, just one more. Like, maybe. Okay, cool. So, is there? And you said there was another path leading up out of here.
And then, yeah, so there's one continuing straight forward or one going off to the right.
Straightforward. First of all, yeah, just to again trying to see if there's anybody here that she can punch. No,
Gotta,
ask some questions too. Yeah,
gotta get to some punchins. And
no,
so as you,
teasing. Oh no, she's all about just gathering treasure and like investigative clues. Here I
and so
am.
as you come up through this hallway, you see it goes into like a T intersection, so you can see it goes off to the left and then off to the right. Off to the left, you see that it leads into a room, and you can smell the rich scent of books.
Yeah, she's like, "A library. Yes, yes, yes." Um, Sort of creaks the door open. Hello, lovelies. Do any of the books call back to me, Sage?
They do not.
Dang it. She's like, it's always worth trying. Sort of like strokes a couple of their spines. Are there any on the bookshelves? Are there any, again, not to use this trick again, are there any like non-dusty areas where it looks like one book has been pulled out? Or so you're looking for something. You know, in like an old cartoon, how you can
Mm-hmm.
like it's a beautiful, like the background will be beautifully painted and then the characters are like cell shaded with a black line and then maybe something else in the room is, and you're like, I wonder which
Uh,
bookshelf these kids will be able to turn around. Is there is one of these bookshelves just poorly drawn or no? Like, is there something very, is there like a little scrape on the ground like that's very obvious?
go ahead and make an investigation.
Duh. That is a 10.
So looking around, there actually aren't any bookshelves, which is the thing that you find most kind of alarming at the first onset. They're actually just books that have just been stacked up in these haphazard piles, um, sort of loosely put together by genre. But as you're kind of looking through and reading the spines, you see that they are all books that have to deal with the creation of the undead. And as you're kind of peeling through, you also find some. There's one book in particular that sort of catches your eye, and you see it is this leather-browned grimoire that beneath this like pile of like blank parchment. And as you can kind of start to flip through it, you see it is a spell book of a necromancer. And sticking out from one of the pages is a small little note that reads, "These organisms, so perfect in their design, transcend these material realms. And with my perfect supplication, I have so delicately pierced the veils between worlds to render the ever-living whole and new. Even now, it hungers in its primordial youth. Long live the new flesh."
Oh boy. Sounds like this person's gonna put me out of business. Good God. Okay. Um, Yeah, she's gonna pocket that note and that book. If there's any room in her backpack.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's like, this is terrifying. And if she holds that, oh, is this place? Oh, this place is still dark as hell.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, there's no candles. Cool. I mean, I guess she could look for one, but what's the point? Or I'll just alert someone that she's there.
What
Possibly.
does strike you very specifically as odd is that there have been absolutely no torches, no
Oh, they.
candles, no sconces, no sources of light in this area.
Oh gosh. Oh. Yeah. This is clearly not just the work of a Boris, but probably some other undead. Whew, okay. Sort of like shakes it off. And she's looking at these other stacks of books, again, horrified. Not that like you can't like books shouldn't be pristine; they should be read. But this is actually hurting their spines. Just a little subtle shout out to everybody. And they prefer to be upright. She's like, oh, that's my college thesis. Oh my gosh. It's not how to make the undead, but it's how to sew up the dead. So interesting. Little, and she's just like, should I? Yeah, and she just signs it while she's there really fast, and then slips it back into it. Yeah, slips it back into the pile. Excellent. Yeah, is there are there any books on shades that are a section on that she could maybe
Yes,
just
you
for.
definitely. Yeah, you see, there's like a sort of encyclopedia of the undead, and you can definitely flip through.
Oh, okay, a child's like giant pictures and like Z is for zombie, S is for shade.
It has the little finger things where you can poke through, and you can make little little
Mm-hmm.
puppets for
Yeah.
each
Oh,
one.
look, it's like it's just someone else's hand and me holding a pie. Interesting. Love this. This is very insensitive now that I am a shade. I'm gonna speak to this publisher. All right. Yeah. So she's just like, no, I don't need that book. I'm sure I could find it at any cheap bookstore. So yeah, she just sort of like drops it. Doesn't drop it, she places it, and she's like, and again, there's she looks around for like any sort of hidden doors or anything, because like she came out of a hidden one and realizes that she has not been looking for them really.
And so as you're kind of looking through, grasping at the walls, poking at the stone bricks and everything to see if there anything opens, and nothing does. But as you are groping around the edges of the room, you do find a note that was tucked into one of the inside covers of one of the books.
All right, she's like, such a good night. This is like reading a romance. Let's go.
And as you pop it open and you read this, you see it is an order to look for tomes of dark arcane knowledge, and you see that there is a note written about an artifact called the Crown of Air in Darkness.
She sort of plays with her long purple hair and just kind of goes, yes, that could sit very nicely on me. But I'm sure it's something quite nefarious or something used for yes, okay. She sort of just like claps her hands lightly. Goes, let's get the shambles out of here. So yeah, she goes out the door. And there was another. You said this was the little hallway that was straight from the statue of the blood-filled
Yes.
statue, and then there's one that goes up. Yeah.
Yeah, so you went straight and off to the left, and you can actually see now that this room it connects to.
It connects to all sorts of cool things. That's when Marrow again is struck by. She's kind of mad that she's dead because she had so many plans for lunar stars, graveyard services, and more. And she's not even sure that her, if people would want them, but she's thinking and recalling about how she had the shade tree, if you will, where it was actually where the shades would hang out, the grave pool, which was the wave pool that you could either have bodies sort of group and turned. I actually had to do a lot of that because she was so busy recently. But you could also do a service on the water that was fun for children, so they were quiet because they're always the worst part. So again, Mara was just
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Mara was very mad she did not get to do these new things at Lunar Star's Graveyard Services and more because she couldn't do innovation like her parents wanted.
And so yeah,
She
if you
wanted.
look off to the left, you see that this connects, and you're like, oh, okay, I've been through here. And then so you can make your way over to the right. And then did you want to go back down to that last tunnel that you hadn't seen?
Yes, that's yeah. She's writing down a she's making a mental map, if you will. She's like I know where to come to get these. I'm gonna because she doesn't want to leave these bodies here, like if she can. So, but she can't carry them all. I mean, no, she can't. She's like my strength. No, okay, no.
And so you can curve down this hallway, and you see it continues for a very long time, probably a mile of lefts and right turns, and it seems to be going deeper underground, and you feel that sort of pressure pushing in on you as you're descending sort of deeper into the earth. And eventually it leads you into let me flip through some pages. Oop, I have this three-ring binder that has like a section for each campaign, and I'm like, I was in the wrong one.
I mean, I'll do a like a
There we go.
large like transforming robot one. That sounds fine too. We can add that in. Like,
Oh heck yeah! Let's just Voltron it up right here.
yep. Marrowmorn turns into a hearse and drives away into the sunset. No.
And you can see this eventually through a series of long and aggravating twists and turns. Eventually comes to, it joins into another tunnel. And you can see it leads you off to a left, a straight forward into a small sort of cavernous room, and then off to the right.
Let's take the left first, she says to nobody. And she's actually thinking this now because all those little tiny, she's very worried that this is home to something.
And so as you head off to the left, and you see that that there appears to be a cave-in of stones that have plummeled into this passageway, appearing to block your path.
Appearing, she tries to stick her hand through.
And as you go to you're like to move a stone, and you do in fact see that it is an illusion.
Yeah. She just sort of like goes, yes. And sort of like starts walking through again with the fossilized sword like hanging out, just like, and yeah. And I guess I should say she's also carrying one of her instruments, but more like a weapon right now because like everything seems. She works with the dead, but this place is a little bit beyond, her comfort level.
And so as you pass through this illusion of a cave-in, you come to the other side, and you can turn back over your shoulder and see that that it is an illusion from both sides, and leads you down this narrow passageway into this long rectangular room, which on both sides has these small niches where you see that are carved out in sort of bunk bed-esque sarcophagi of a top and a bottom. There are 8 of these little small niches, and you see a 6-foot-tall raven humanoid creature, a middle-aged man who is fighting back some currently unseen assailants, and a monochromatic elven-looking individual.
My God. She's like, this isn't the. She's like, you're supposed to be a vampire cult. What are you doing here? Like.
And now that Marrowmorn has found the rest of the individuals in this party who are currently fighting back these gray hands with these long yellow nails, and you see more of these long tongues are lashing out at these individuals. That is where we are going to end this game.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy, you all
Yeah.
are together. I'm so happy.
I'm so excited. But this was fun. Thank you again. I hope you had fun as well, Sage, with our one-on-one.
Oh, absolutely. I adore Marrowmorn, and I love her. There are no internal thoughts. They are only external.
No, it's the only way to live, you know? Like, don't hide anything. Be an open book that talks, like for children. Cow goes moo. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a string.
Yeah.
And so, yes, next week we're going to have the crew all together. We're going to have our 4 wonderful players who you've seen most of them in chat of the Willy Boo, Kintaro TPC, all here to enjoy. And of course, there is Rihanna. And next week we will be here, same time. Oh my god.
I did that with my shade magic. I finally threw shade. Thank you.
Oh dear.
Oh no. Oh, you are still. It is still going through though.
Okay. I think it's probably just.
You're all good.
Oh, I see what happened. My film. Okay, so, but yes. Oh, while we are here, let us draw the winner of our giveaway, so that you can win a digital copy of the Underworld Player's Guide, where you too can be a shade or a Dampier. And let's see. Draw our Rage Cage.
Yay, Cage! Congratulations!
Oh boy! You'll have to send me your email address so that we can get this to you. That is so very exciting. And yes, it is a very, very cool book. It's got new spells in it. It's got new subclasses and, of course, character options for species. And, yes, very cool. I'm very happy for that. And, of course, thank you to Kobold Press for sponsoring all of our episodes. This is just such a joy to play through. I'm excited for you all to see and learn more about what is happening in this kingdom.
I am very excited as well. Thank you again. This was so much fun. Thank you, chat. And I'm sorry, I'm just realizing my web captioner wasn't working. That's not helpful. So I'll make sure that it happens next time. So
Oh, that is weird. It was working earlier. But yes, I have been your storyteller this evening, Sage. You can find me at Staff of Sage on Twitter. And we 2 weeks from now, we will be on with episode 91 of the Venture Maidens. And every Tuesday now, Nassim streams her video games. She's been doing The Sims 4. So if you wanna give her NPCs to incorporate into our Venture Maidens Sims world, make sure to tag Venture Maidens with your designs, and she will throw those into her world. But yes, this has been a blast. Jen, tell us where people can find you for all your neat, cool things that you do.
perfect. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, posting pictures of my cat Hemlock and sometimes comics.
So cute.
Thank you. He slept this whole time. I'll make sure he shows up next time. You can find me again above me, the Jenya, TheJenya. You can see me here next Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Exactly. And I will say at the end of the month, I am hosting my sort of QVC style shopping network with a little bit of a convention artist alley flair and like a smidge of Mystery Science Theater, the very, very shopping network, the Twitch channel VV Spaceship. And we will be interviewing a lot of people, and you can buy whatever they make, their comics or video games. Our list hasn't come out yet, so I'm trying to be very vague, but it's going to be fun. And it'll be for 2 days. And yeah, I'll have more information soon. But yeah, if you're missing convention life, this is it. This is what we'll do for you. So I'm the very, very
I
shopping hour.
definitely have been, and I'm definitely going to be here for that. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Sage. This was wonderful. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, I can't wait to play next week with you all together, and we will see you then, friends.